Greetings, you delicious human, you. Sunny Bonani Dumalang, goeie afternoon, bon dia. Trust you're well, swell, and enjoying today. So yes, today is episode 41. The moods are still here. I woke up feeling, whoa, yo. That's how I woke up feeling. And I today would like to discuss the power and the magic of yoga, at least for me and from my perspective. And I guess the reason for that is because for the last couple of days, I really have been feeling all the feels. I've just been feeling really sad and a little defeated by life, I guess. And I have also realized how hard I get on myself when I feel this way. Like I feel it's wrong for me to feel these feelings and these emotions, and I need to snap the fuck out of it very quickly. And I really chastise myself considerably, you know? I really do. But I must say, showing up here today, watching myself on the recorder, has put a little bit of a spring in my step, you know? But I would like to also attribute this to breath work and also to yoga, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, if you were paying attention. So today is actually day 587 of me doing a yoga practice consecutively. So for 587 days, I have met myself on the mat, regardless of those emotions, regardless of the sensations within the body, regardless of what's happening in my life. I have committed to showing up on my mat every day for the last 587 days. So I kind of see it as waking up, brushing your teeth, making a tinkle sprinkle, and having a cup of coffee, if that's what you do first thing in the morning. So I have definitely made it part of that little ritualistic group where it's really it's a non-negotiable for me. So today, for example, I was really feeling meh, you know, and I just laid on my mat and I started off with some deep belly breaths, which really helped me just come back into the body and get me out of the chattering of the mind that is running rampant, you know, sometimes with all those stories that we can tell ourselves. And yeah, so I guess I started off with some deep belly breaths, and that just helped center me. And it was so interesting today because recently, apart from my yoga practice, I practice yin yoga every 5 days, and I do the same thing. Okay, so in my yin yoga practice, I do the same postures in the same sequence every 5 days. So I have that fixed. But for the rest of the days, day 1 through to 4, I show up on my mat and I actually allow the body to guide me into how it wants to move and what asanas it wants to go into and stay in, and what breath work I wish to do. So I really allow the body to just facilitate and guide me through the process, so to speak. And once you've been doing this for 587 days, you become quite in tune with what the body's needing, and you just innately trust the process of flow without pitching up on your mat thinking that you're going to be doing a certain sequence. So yes, today I found myself literally on my mat, belly or back down pretty much the entire session. So that's intuitively guided me in the knowingness that I definitely needed to ground my energy and dissipate it, so to speak. So it was so fascinating to see just like what showed up and what postures popped into my awareness and how my body was asking me and guiding me to be moved. So I thought, yeah, I just thought it was something worthwhile sharing. Um, I really do advocate for the magic and the power that is yoga in so many shapes, ways, and forms. It can either be as challenging and tough as you wanting it to be, but it can also be as gentle and supportive and nourishing as you wish it to be as well. So it really has the power of being these juxtaposed, it's like a juxtaposed practice, you know, and then of course there's the middle of the road where you get a little bit of both and you bring them together. So yes, I guess it's something that I was being called to share in the here now moment of today. And what else do I wish and feel called to share here today in the essence and the spirit that is yoga? So I have been practicing yoga for quite a number of years. It's been a part of my life for more than a decade in terms of it being I was going to say a religious practice. Isn't that interesting? Part of it being a committed, I think that's a better word, a committed practice. It doesn't mean that I've been practicing consecutively every single day like I have for the last 587 days, but I have been tapping into yoga at least twice or three times a week, as well, for quite a number of years now. And I guess what's been interesting for me as I've stepped into this role of guiding other people through the practice of yoga is that I know we get so, it can become quite a religion, yoga. And I know there are many people who are probably very horrified by, if they had to see one of my embodiment practice sessions where people think they're going to show up for yoga and we're doing things very differently. I'm sure a couple of people would be quite horrified. But what I've discovered through my years of observing people, literally, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, I've often come to witness and see how people many a times aren't able to get into these postures that we deem sometimes to be so simple and basic, be it because they've recently suffered some form of injury or suffered some form of trauma, or they're recuperating from some form of surgery or procedure or something like that. And I do feel that as dogmatic and religious as yoga can most certainly and definitely become, I would like to invite practitioners to explore the softness and the playfulness and the mobility that comes with just being in the body first and foremost, and then adding and complementing your practice with some of those hardcore asanas. Yes, I felt and I feel that has yielded far greater rewards and remuneration for my students than me showing up for a, solid hour of yoga asanas and breath work without any integrated play or creative fluidity and movement. Would definitely not have serve them as well. And I think it's definitely, well, I hope, I hope that it has nurtured and nourished a curiosity for yoga, one which they can take off the mat and become a little bit more excited about and curious about, so that when they come to the mat in their own time and in their own pace and in their own way, it won't feel so, what's the right word? Like a principle, you know, when you're afraid of a principle, right? Yeah, there won't be any fear, or there won't be any trepidation or concern that you're doing it wrong, because you just have this innate connection with your body and you've played with it a little bit, and we've been able to move and adjust in ways that are more tailored and specific for each body type and each body condition or form at that particular point and juncture in one's life. So yes. So hey, magical beings, I feel that I've shared all that I need to share for the premise of today, and just capturing a little bit of some of the essence that is yoga and mobility and movement for me. And I guess flying that yoga flag, beep, 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 you know. There are many other practices that I engage in. Dance is most certainly another one of those. In fact, I read recently about a research study that was done that actually scientifically proved that dance is, in fact, or it can be, significantly more powerful than any exercise, including yoga, especially and primarily when it comes to helping people move through and work their way through depression, which I thought was fascinating. Yesterday I went to the beach and I danced like a mofo out there, okay, because I was feeling so I was like, let me just go and shift my booty, you know, get all that stuff out of it. And yes, to say that it was a magnificent dancing session with myself on the beach. The weather was and had these magical fishermen that were just getting ready to station up as the tides were turning, and I was still dancing. You know, give them a show to watch is what I always say. So, and if anything, it will inspire others to dance. If not on the beach, alongside me, hopefully in their kitchen as they are preparing a spaghetti carbonara for their family. So, Magical Human, it's 13:20 on the clock. So, as always, just a reminder to continue to sow those seeds, allow for the flow of life to find you, along with a touch and sprinkle of magic, so that you may continue to grow, illuminate, and glow. Until tomorrow's episode 42, stay delicious, stay peaceful, and remember to always ignite and open your heart. Until tomorrow, stay magical.